This is the Yay or Nay Show with Alex C. A sports show for sports fans by a sports fan. And now, here is Alex C.
All right, here we go. It is Yay or Nay Show with Alex C., a sports show for sports fans by a sports fan. Today, we're going to kick it off with a couple of questions that have come back, which is going to lead to the major topic that I'm going to be talking about today, which is Tiger Woods. So here we go. The first question, do you think golf is physically demanding? A lot of people have been talking about Tiger Woods, and the physical demands of golf. Now, for him and his condition, let me be perfectly clear so there's no misunderstanding in regards to the words that are coming out of my mouth. For him and his condition, I personally understand why somebody would say that golf is physically demanding. For someone who has the physical condition that Tiger Woods currently has. With that being said, however, we're talking about everybody outside of the realm of Tiger Woods or anyone who is in his particular situation. The question is, do you think golf is physically demanding? 52% of the people that voted said nay. And to be honest, I'm surprised it was even that close. I am one of the people who's with the 52%. I don't think golf is demanding. I am a golf player. I do walk the course versus drive the cart. Of course, sometimes, obviously, full disclosure, I do drive the cart, but most of the time I do actually walk the course. And with that being said, I don't see the issue. But that's just me. 18 holes, not a big deal. Sometimes I've done 27 holes. It's really not a physically demanding game. And I am an overweight guy playing golf. And I'm telling you, as an overweight guy, golf is not a physically demanding game, and that includes carrying my own golf bag, not putting it on one of those little strollers with wheels or anything like that. Carrying my golf bag, walking the course, 18 holes, sometimes 27, and I do not find golf to be physically demanding. 52% of the people that voted agreed with me, saying golf is not physically demanding. So when I hear the national sports media, and I'm not talking about national media, I'm talking about national sports media. When I hear about the national sports media try to tell you how physical golf is, I have to disagree wholeheartedly. Got another question. Do you consider Tiger Woods an elite athlete? Now, I personally agree. 89% of the people that voted said yes, they consider Tiger Woods to be an elite athlete. I absolutely agree with that wholeheartedly. The reason why I was asking is because, again, a lot of people in the sports media were saying, what an incredible athlete he is, what incredible shape he's in and all that. And I'd have to agree. Obviously, the guy is an athlete. He's athletic. He's in great shape. He's in better shape than I've ever been. So wholeheartedly, I'm with the 89% that said Tiger Woods is an elite athlete. Last week, I asked another question, which was, do you consider golfers to be athletes? And, it's just one of those things. Everybody keeps going around, and we're all talking about this, and they're all talking about this, which leads me to talk about this because of the fact that Tiger Woods played in Augusta over the weekend, which we're going to get into because, again, there were a lot of things said. Some things I disagree with in regards to what was said. Other things I'm wondering why they're not covering when it comes to Tiger Woods. They're all trying to feed you a storyline like they always do. They obviously had an objective when talking about Tiger Woods. They stayed on that objective, but I don't think they were objective, using the word in quotation marks. I don't think they were objective in regards to how they spoke about Tiger Woods in his situation. I think it was pretty one-sided, and I think it was very obvious. One of the questions that was discussed was, was the media overhyping Tiger Woods' return to golf? And again, I'm going to get into that in a little bit. I just got a few other things I want to talk about first really quickly. Joel Embiid, flipping over to the NBA, wins the NBA scoring title for the first time. He becomes the first center since Shaquille O'Neal to claim the title. So that's pretty cool. So again, Philadelphia 76ers center Joel Embiid clinched the 21-22 NBA scoring title Sunday, becoming the first international player to do so. Embiid, who was born in Cameroon, was already the overwhelming favorite to claim the first scoring title by a center since Shaquille O'Neal in 99-2000, heading into the final day of the regular season. He locked up the honor when Giannis Antetokounmpo was ruled out of the Milwaukee Bucks finale against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Embiid finished with 30.6 points per game this season, while Antetokounmpo averaged 29.9. Embiid sat out Philadelphia's finale against the Detroit Pistons. Embiid's stiffest competition, LA Laker forward LeBron James, had 30.3 points per game, didn't qualify for the scoring title after a sprained ankle cost him the final few games of the season. James played in 56 games in 21 and 22 under the 58-game threshold necessary to qualify for the season-ending award. Now, beyond becoming the first international player to lead the league in scoring, Embiid set other marks this season. He set the record for playing the fewest minutes per game by a scoring champion since the shot clock was introduced in 54-55, and Embiid's 33.8 minutes per game surpasses Steph Curry's 34.2 minutes in 2015-16 last season. The MVP candidate also became the first center to average more than 30 points for a season since Moses Malone in 81-82, when the Hall of Famer won the MVP. So again, big congratulations going out to Joel Embiid winning the scoring title. Really quickly, flipping over to football, I struggled with, whether I should start my show with this today, but because of the questions and stuff like that, it made more sense to start off with the questions that I had for the yay or nay poll, which, by the way, you can always answer those poll questions up on the Twitter page, the address to the Twitter page at Yay or Nay Podcast. With that being said, Dwayne Haskins passed away after being struck by a dump truck. Let me read you a little bit of the story. He passed away early Saturday morning, and he was struck by a dump truck, like I said, while he was walking on a South Florida highway. Haskins was only 24 years old. Florida Highway Patrol spokesperson Lieutenant Indiana Miranda said Haskins was pronounced dead at the scene. He was attempting to cross the westbound lanes of Interstate 595 when there was oncoming traffic, Miranda said in an emailed statement. She didn't say why Haskins was on the highway near Fort Lauderdale at the time. The accident caused the highway to be shut down for several hours, and Miranda said it's an open traffic homicide investigation. Haskins was training in South Florida with other Steelers quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receivers. In a statement from Mike Tomlin, he says, "I'm devastated at a loss for words with the unfortunate passing of Dwayne Haskins. He quickly became part of our Steelers family upon his arrival in Pittsburgh and was one of our hardest workers, both on the field and in our community. Dwayne was a great teammate, but even more so a tremendous friend to so many. I'm truly heartbroken. Our thoughts and prayers are with his wife, Calibra, and his entire family during this difficult time." I got nothing to. This is one of the most difficult things to discuss when somebody passes, whether it be private or whether it be public. Dwayne Haskins struck down, and again, looks like this investigation is wide open. This is my first time hearing that this is being investigated as a possible homicide, so that brings a lot of interest to my mind. I'm definitely going to pay a lot more attention to this. But with that being said, again, Dwayne Haskins at the age of 24 has passed away, and it's definitely a dark day in the NFL. I know that Ohio State was planning to do a tribute to him during this upcoming season. I have seen a tremendous amount of stories in regards to how Dwayne Haskins already, even though he has not been there long, has made a lot of contributions to the community of Pittsburgh. And I mean, I've seen a lot of stories in regards to that. So I have no doubt believing the validity of that. And my heartfelt thoughts are with the Haskins family. Again, this is just one of the most difficult things to discuss. Flipping over to the NBA, the LA Lakers, they fired coach Frank Vogel after his disappointing 33-49 season. I'm going to give you my thoughts on that in a minute, but let's read a little bit of this story. So this comes from the Four Letter Network. It says the LA Lakers fired head coach Frank Vogel today And I have a tremendous amount of respect for Frank, both on and off the court. Lakers Vice President of Basketball Operations and General Manager Rob Pelinka said in a statement, Frank is a great coach and a good man. We will forever be grateful to him for his work in guiding us to the 2019-20 NBA championship. This is an incredibly difficult decision to make, but one we feel is necessary at this point. All of us here wish Frank and his wonderful family all the best for the future. The Lakers have not dismissed any of Vogel's coaching staff at this time. Any of Vogel's coaching staff at this time, league sources told the Four-Letter Network. Look, this one is one of those deals where they're looking for somebody to blame. There's always collateral damage when you're talking about somebody having a bad season. We all know this. It's pretty normal. It's very standard. Somebody has to take the blame. Here's the deal. The wrong guy, the guy on the bottom of the totem pole, took the blame. There is no doubt, and I know that LeBron James is trying to dispute how much he had to do with building this roster. We all know that's garbage. We all know that Rob Pelinka didn't do this on his own. They had a lineup that last year was about to beat and destroy and dismantle the Phoenix Suns, the team who went to the NBA Finals and did not deserve to be there, because they should have been beaten by the LA Lakers last year. Yet, they were right there, ready to beat them. But Anthony Davis goes down, and of course, everything falls on LeBron's shoulders. Young team, no Anthony Davis. Suns took advantage of it. It's what happened all season long for them as far as the postseason goes. All the superstars fell, and then the Suns were able to walk right into the NBA Finals. We've discussed that a million times on this show. But the bottom line is, they were about to whip the team that represented the West in the NBA Finals last year with the roster that they had in place. They were only missing one player because he went down due to injury, and that was Anthony Davis. And you're going to tell me that this year you come back with a brand new roster. Everybody on the roster needs wheelchairs and crutches in order to get around on the basketball court. And that has nothing to do with LeBron James, the guy who quite vocally, quite publicly, has stated that he doesn't like playing with young players. Okay? Doesn't like playing with young players. Had a young team, an inexperienced team, who would have been one more year removed and ready to go with experience under their belt in the playoffs. And the Lakers could have made a serious run at it this year if they would have stayed with that same roster, maybe find another piece to add for some outside shooting. But instead, you're telling me that the Lakers, as an organization who has been nothing but a winning organization, winning NBA titles, decided that they wanted to get a bunch of old, decrepit guys who need wheelchairs and crutches to play on a basketball court because they decided that would be the best move for the team. That was all LeBron James. That was not Rob Pelinka. That was all LeBron James doing that deal, pulling the trigger, making the moves, making them get rid of all the young guys. That was all LeBron James. And then we all know, trade deadline, he blamed the Lakers for making no moves to make them better. But yet you're the guy who brought Russell Westbrook, Mr. Triple-Double, Mr. Highlights, Mr. Doesn't make anybody better, Mr. I can't play with any team who likes me, Mr. I can't play with any team where players want to play with me. I'm not a guy where players come to play with me. I got to go play with them. You're the one that got him and brought him to LA. You're the one that made that happen. That was your influence. That was you asking for it to happen, just like you asked to get rid of all the young players and bring in all these old, decrepit guys. I'm the guy at the beginning of the season that said this was a dumpster fire waiting to happen. It was going to happen. And I would be the one laughing last at all the national media guys who were saying, whoa, the Lakers, they're going to be good. Look at all the big name guys on the roster. It doesn't matter that they're old. They got Russell Westbrook. They're going to be ready. They're going to be on fire. They're going to make it happen. Russell's going to come off the bench. He's going to run the second string. LeBron's going to run the first string. They're going to be fire. It's going to be one heck of a season. It's Los Angeles Lakers to the NBA Finals or bust. And I said before the season started, I don't know what you guys think you know about basketball. Obviously, you don't know very much because anybody who watches the game of basketball knows that putting a bunch of old, decrepit guys on a court is not how you win an NBA title, let alone how you're even competitive throughout a regular NBA season. I said it was going to happen. I said it was a dumpster fire. Go back and check all my previous shows. You'll see that I'm not fronting. You'll see that I'm telling the truth. I said it was a dumpster fire waiting to happen. This was the dumbest lineup I had ever seen. A bunch of old age guys over the hill, nobody making noise wherever they were last year. That shows you how impressive these players were. I don't know where any of them came from. I don't know anybody who was dumb enough to have any of these old guys on their rosters, unless you were just looking for guys to sit on the bench and maybe give advice to a bunch of young guys. I know that sometimes teams do that, and that's kind of smart to do. And if that was the case, fine. But you don't take those guys who you just keep on the bench to give advice to young guys and put them in a starting lineup and say, go win me an NBA title, let alone make the entire roster. Nothing but a bunch of guys who should be nothing but on the bench telling a bunch of young guys how to play the game and how they did it when they actually were good. But now they're not. They're over the hill. They're over the hill. And I said this was a dumpster fire waiting to happen. And I said I'd be the last man laughing. And here I am laughing at all the national media who was running their mouths all preseason and all the first half of the season, running their mouths, talking about the Lakers are fine, the Lakers are great, oh, the Lakers are fire, oh, the Lakers are NBA Finals bound, oh, it's NBA championship or bust. Guess what? It's bust. I got it right. Once again, the national media, the supposed national media who are supposed experts, got it wrong. Because again, I don't know what they judge stuff by. It makes no sense to me at all. It took me no time at all to look at the LA Laker roster and know that this was a dumpster fire and they were going to be absolutely 150% worthless as a team. And I said, if the Lakers made the playoffs, because so many people were all for it and everybody was just pounding it every day, every show, every network. Oh, the Lakers, they're going to go to the NBA Finals. Oh, the Lakers, they're NBA championship bound. Oh, what moves they made. Oh, LeBron James. Oh, the genius of LeBron James. And everybody gave LeBron James all the credit. And never once did LeBron James come back and say, I didn't do that. Never once did he come back and say, I didn't do that. But oh, now, all of a sudden, season over, 16 games under 500? All of a sudden now LeBron James, I didn't do that. Oh, well, where were you when everybody was giving you all the praise? You weren't coming out and saying that you weren't the guy that put it together then, but now all of a sudden you want to come and be like, oh, no, I didn't do that. Oh, it wasn't me. Oh, and all of this started coming from LeBron James' lips when it came down time to make your moves at the trade deadline. And then when the trade deadline didn't happen, that's when LeBron started to try and get his people to leak information to make sure everybody understood that he didn't do this. Oh, really? Really? Now that you know that you have no prayer in the world, all of a sudden now you want to try and tell people you didn't do this. And the team got older because you hate playing with young guys, and we're supposed to think that you traditionally hate playing with young guys. You've always wanted to play with nothing but veterans. You've always said publicly that you only like to play with veterans. And then they dismantle the young guys and bring in nothing but, well, you call them veterans, I call them fossils. So you bring in a bunch of fossils to play with LeBron James on the Lakers, and that's not because of the influence and the requests and the demands of LeBron James. I, as a fan, am supposed to believe that that's not what happened. Do we look stupid to you, LeBron James? Do you really think people are that stupid? Are you absolutely 100% serious right now? Get real, brother. Get real. People know better than that. Everybody knows this roster from the LA Lakers is a result of the influence, the requests, and the demands of one LeBron James. Plain, simple, straight to the point, no doubt about it. Too much of a coincidence that they went from being a young team to an old fogey team. It's what he's always done. Go get a bunch of veterans. Doesn't like to play with young guys. Of course, he's being hypocritical now, because now all of a sudden he's being hypocritical because now he wants to play with his kid when his kid's a rookie, which anybody can understand why you'd want to, but that's still hypocritical. You hate playing with young guys, but yet you want to play with your kid. So obviously you don't plan on winning a title that season. But that's a whole different discussion. Whether that should or should not happen, that's a different discussion. We will definitely get into that in a future podcast. Make no mistake about that. But right now, what we are talking about is the dumpster fire that is the Lakers. Frank Vogel should not have been the one to get fired. This is all on the Lakers. This is all on Russell Westbrook not knowing how to follow coaching, thinking that you know better than the coach, and yet You got no bling to sing with, Russell. You got nothing to talk about that makes you good and good enough to talk about not listening to a coach after a timeout, changing the plays, saying derogatory things in the locker room, poisoning the locker room against the coach. Russell Westbrook, I would say, is the guy who poisoned this roster against Frank Vogel. There's no doubt in my mind he was the main guy. I don't think it was LeBron James. I'm sure LeBron and Frank Vogel had their disagreements, but I've never seen LeBron really being the guy to go around spit poison. But we've all seen Russell Westbrook, and we watch it every day in his pressers. Guy doesn't know how to hold his tongue, doesn't know how to keep his opinions quiet, and he's very vocal. I hardly doubt he wasn't that way in the locker room when the cameras weren't rolling and when they were on the practice courts. And it wouldn't surprise me in any way, shape, or form if Russell Westbrook wasn't the reason why the team turned against Frank Vogel. But Frank Vogel didn't make the decisions for this pathetic piece of crap, garbage roster that the LA Lakers put together. The general manager didn't put together this roster alone. I've never seen a general manager say, let's go get over-the-hill old guys and put them on a roster and win an NBA title. This was all LeBron James and his ego thinking that he could take these bunch of old guys and mold them into what he wants and what he needs to make them competitive to come out of the West and go to the NBA Finals. This was nothing but purely the ego of LeBron James, and it is nothing but the failure of one LeBron James. There's no doubt about it. Failure, and the failure belongs to LeBron James. So I just think it was a bad move, bad decision. I don't think the Laker family should have gotten rid of Frank Vogel. What they should do is figure out how to get rid of Russell Westbrook and get rid of all those old guys and go and get some players who can actually complement LeBron and win. And quit listening to LeBron and quit letting him influence your decision-making. That's what needs to happen. All right, now flipping back to what we started today's show with, there was a lot of conversation about Tiger Woods, obviously. He decided he was going to play, and everybody was making a big deal about it. The Masters, Augusta, everybody was going crazy, and a lot of people were talking about it in the sports media. And one of the interesting things that was brought up was, do you think the national sports media spent too much time talking about Tiger Woods and his return? That's also, by the way, one of the poll questions that's up on my Twitter page now, at Yay or Nay Podcast. Go there and answer the question. I'll give you the results when the results come back. And again, at Yay or Nay Podcast is the address to the Twitter page. But everybody was discussing all week long whether they are overhyping the return of Tiger Woods. Now, I'm not saying they're overhyping it. I think that they deserve to talk about it. Tiger Woods deserves to be talked about. He's one of the most iconic golfers probably in golf history, at least one of the top three, if not number one. And there's no doubt about it for a variety of reasons. And so the bottom line is that, you know, the guy is an icon. He brings eyeballs to the TV sets. He brings crowds to the courses that he plays on. And he was great in his day. His day is over, obviously now. But I mean, he was great in his day, and he's an icon. And the accident and the rehab and the coming back and be able to come back and to be able to play at a professional level still after the accident absolutely is remarkable. I won't take that away in any way, shape, or form. It is. It's remarkable. But then there were a lot of other topics that were brought up, you know, because as they opened up the phone lines on the sports networks, you know, a lot of people were all over the board with this deal, right? They were praising Tiger Woods, and other people were sitting there saying, well, you know, you are talking about it too much. There's a lot of other bigger things going on, NBA, NFL. You know, there's a bunch of other things to talk about, bigger things to talk about. You know, why are we only talking about Tiger Woods? Tiger Woods is not a role model. And then everybody got into defense mode as far as the sports media went. And they started defending Tiger Woods, talking about how he is a sports model and role model and all that stuff. Okay, so I guess that's where it gets interesting, right? Tiger Woods, is he a role model? Is he not a role model? Well, personally, I will tell you this. It's up for you to decide. It's not for me to tell you. It's not for the national sports media to tell you. That's for you to make your own decision in regards to whether somebody is or is not a role model. What I will say is, but in the national sports media, everything was all fluffy flowers, and they never really got into the meat. They danced around everything. They danced around the accident. They danced around how the accident happened. They danced around the investigation in the accident. They danced around, what was the determination as the cause of the accident. They made it seem as if something tragic was done to Tiger Woods, as if somebody went and ran into Tiger Woods, as somebody went and as if he was a victim somehow, and he went and he did something and he was driving and somebody victimized him and put him in the car accident and caused the car accident, and it was somebody else's fault, and then he had to come back and rehab and go through all the stuff. That's what they were making it seem like. They made it seem like it was a tragic episode where somebody did something wrong to Tiger Woods, and he had to figure out how to battle back and rehab physically and get prepared to be able to play golf again. That's what they made it seem like. And they went on and on and on, fluffy flowers and unicorns. And I'm saying, if you're going to be a sports reporter, tell the whole story, not just the version that you want to tell, because it's amazing to me. And I'm going to give you a perfect example right here. I'm looking at usmagazine.com, and there's a story here, and I'm trying to get the date right now as to when it was published. April 5th. Check this out. So April 5th, Us Magazine published this story. This goes along with the national sports media right here. This is what I mean by fluffy dogs and ponies and unicorns. Listen to this, and then I'm going to show you something else that tells you, well, there's a lot of other conversation to be had. Why aren't they having it? Instead of trying to make it seem like somebody did something to Tiger Woods and he had to figure out how to recoup after being victimized by somebody. Because that's what they made it seem like in the national sports media. That's the part I didn't appreciate. Tell the whole story. Yes, his comeback still is tremendous. Yes, his comeback is remarkable. Yes, that is irrefutable. Nobody, including myself, can refute that, and I'm not trying to. It is remarkable what he accomplished. But let's not forget how he got put in this position, and it is a conversation that should be had, especially if you're going to bring up the question, which I noticed a lot of America was across all the sports talk shows that I was listening to this weekend. Everybody was talking about whether Tiger Woods was a role model. And if you did not think he was a role model, you did not seem to agree with all the hype and all the talk and all the discussion about Tiger Woods' return. And for those that believed he was a role model, they thought it was perfectly fine. Those were the two sides to the role model conversation. But again, the national sports media obviously believes he's a role model, again, which is fine. It's up to everybody else to make that determination. It is not for me to tell you how to think, and it's not for me to tell the sports media how to think. But what I am saying is, but they gave everybody a one-sided story all week. I don't like that. I want the whole story. I want to hear everything. So I did the research on my own so I could have the conversation with you here today on the show. So again, Us Magazine, April 5th, this is what they wrote. Tiger Woods was hospitalized in the aftermath of a single car wreck on February 23rd, 2021, and authorities have officially ruled it an accident. The L.A. County Sheriff's Department issued a statement after the pro athlete was extricated from the wreck with the jaws of life by L.A. County firefighters and paramedics. When his vehicle flipped over several times, the car sustained major damage, and Woods' manager later told Golf Digest that he suffered multiple leg injuries. The California native was the only passenger in the car. Now, here's the other part of the story. During the press conference at the time, more details about the crash and Woods' condition were revealed. Authorities noted that the golf champ was conscious when first responders arrived at the scene, asserting that there was no evidence of impairment. L.A. County Sheriff Alex Villanueva added the first contact was with the center median. From then, he crossed into the opposite lane of traffic, hit the curb, hit a tree, and there were several rollovers during that process. Now, that's the version they gave. But I want to highlight something really quickly before I move on to the next story that I'm going to share with you. It says again, Tiger Woods was hospitalized in the aftermath of a single car wreck on February 23rd, 2021. And authorities have officially ruled it an accident. April 5th, Us Magazine. Again, April 5th, Us Magazine. Now, I'm going to flip over to another story. This one is on the Today Show. Now, Us Magazine, I consider that to be a very fluffy, one-sided magazine who loves to talk about celebrities and everybody and put them all in the brightest light. They're very positive. I don't have a problem with it. I'm just sharing with you what my thoughts about Us Magazine are. So when they talked about Tiger Woods, I was not surprised that what I read was a very fluffy piece. And again, keep in mind what I just told you. They said it was ruled an accident. Are you ready for this one? This is April 1st, and this is the Today Show. April 1st. Detectives discover cause of Tiger Woods car crash, but aren't revealing it. Let me read you the headline one more time. Detectives discover the cause of Tiger Woods car crash, but aren't revealing it. More than a month after the accident that severely injured golf great Tiger Woods, the LA County Sheriff says officials now know why it happened, but need to get Woods' permission before releasing their findings. Yes, that is what it said. Need to get Woods' permission before releasing their findings. Folks, I listened real quickly to a piece of the story where they tried to give the reason as to why they had to ask his permission was because they couldn't release any medical information. Now, I don't know what that means, and I'm going to watch the rest of this video because I didn't get a chance to watch it all before I was able to start today's show. Obviously, I'm going to have to watch it all. I will obviously have more to talk about this tomorrow if this means one of two things that it possibly could mean. But either way, either one of the two things that are in my mind right now that I'm thinking aren't really positive in different types of ways, but they're not positive in different types of ways. And I'm also going to read some of the comments that are on the strand here because I find these comments very enlightening. So again, let me read you the Today Show, April 1st. April 1st, more than a month after the accident that severely injured golf great Tiger Woods, the LA County Sheriff says officials now know why it happened, but need to get Woods' permission before releasing their findings. Now, here's the interesting part. I'm going to read some of the comments here. Comment number one that I'm looking at. What is this? The third incident with Tiger in a crash or passed out behind the wheel, and none of them are ever his fault? Good grief. It's getting harder to cover for him. Who else in society gets this treatment? Let me read you another comment on this strand. I think there is something more sinister going on than just Woods being under the influence. The gas pedal was allegedly pushed almost all the way down at impact, and he never hit the brakes. I think we should send Tiger Woods good thoughts and well wishes because it's a miracle he survived this crash. And I do remember that being reported in a news story. The gas pedal was pushed down all the way and he never tried to hit the brakes. Doesn't that signal something to some people? Doesn't that make you think something? Doesn't that make you ask a few questions? I mean, it makes me wonder a couple of things. I'm just saying, makes me think a couple of things. Mental health, possibly. Suicidal. I think it was 75 miles that it was quoted at. I'm not saying that that's for sure, but I'm going off memory from the original stories I remember hearing. 75 miles, never hit the brakes. Doesn't that make you think suicidal? Doesn't that make you wonder? How come nobody's talking about that? How come nobody's asking those questions? How come the national sports media is asking or acting as if something was done to Tiger Woods, as if somebody did this to Tiger Woods, as if he didn't do this to himself? When nobody's asking those questions, how come nobody's talking about that? Here's another comment. He's rich enough to pay someone to be quiet. Anyone else would have had the details published in the press. Is that not a good point? Is that not accurate? Have we not seen that quite a few times before? Here's another point. A speculation by somebody, but another point. It doesn't take a genius to know he was intoxicated. I am not saying that's what happened. Again, I'm reading you somebody's comment. But again, these people are thinking pretty much what I'm sure a lot of people were thinking. and what a lot of people maybe still are thinking. So why is the national sports media acting as if something was done to Tiger Woods by someone else, as if this wasn't an issue of his own making? I mean, some of the sports media did say some of the problems that he had were brought on by himself, but nonetheless, but they never went into the problem was the accidents and how they were his own fault, or why the accidents happened, or where is he? What is his state of mind? Nobody's talking about that. Nobody's asking, Tiger, can you tell us about the accident? Why you never hit the brakes? Can you tell us what your take on the accident? I haven't seen anybody do that. I've looked and I've searched for videos and documentaries and news stories. I don't see anything where anybody's asking him that. If I'm wrong, send me the info. I'd love to see it. And I just haven't seen it. And I looked for it before I started today's show. Here's another one, another comment. It's not a matter of whether he was impaired. It's a matter of how much he wants to spend in an attempt to cover it up. Leopards and their spots, folks. Here's another comment. Does anyone believe Tiger Woods was sober in this crash? Another comment. I'm so happy that Tiger is alive. Another comment. The same sheriff's department shares Kobe crash photos, but not the cause of Tiger's crash. Is that accurate? Is that true? If it is, then hello. Why are we not wondering what's going on here? Let me read that to you one more time. The same sheriff's department shares Kobe crash photos, but not the cause of Tiger's crash. Here's another one. Maybe if the inept media ask for the accident reports on Eldrick Taunt Woods, the LA County Sheriff's Department will release it. Meaning, I guess don't say Tiger. And maybe they'll get the information. That's an interesting comment. Here's another comment. Was accurate? Question mark. He was speeding and probably intoxicated and should have been tested. He probably was if he went into surgery. And then it says you are a disgrace and should resign. Okay. I don't know what they mean by disgrace and should resign, but that's the comment. Here is another one. LA County is full of it. This is what is called a cover-up. So many statements that don't make sense. Number one, no signs of impairment. There's no tire marks of him trying to swerve out of the way or stay on the road. Number two, they never once mentioned the speed limit. Not once. He was traveling over 80 miles, 84 to 85.5 miles per hour on a 45 mile per hour area. That's over 40 plus miles over the speed limit. That's double of what is reckless driving. No ticket, and that's the probable cause, along with his well-known, and then it goes on to read more, but I don't want to get into all that. But this person right here brings up a lot of great points. A lot of great points. I can go on, and there are definitely a ton of people on here who think that there's some kind of cover-up. How could it possibly be just a matter of, what, an accident when you're driving that fast in a 45-mile-an-hour zone? And by the way, no ticket. And again, not impaired, but didn't try to hit the brakes. Okay? Lots of questions. Now I'm going to flip over to another story really quickly. This one I found really interesting. This is the New York Post. It says, Tiger Woods and his many car accidents explained. And all I'm doing, folks, is trying to show you that there's a lot of questions that nobody seems to be asking. The national media, again, seems to be, and when I say national media, I mean national sports media. The national sports media continues to act as if somebody went and hit Tiger Woods and all of a sudden he's making this miraculous comeback. And thank heavens that he's making this comeback after being victimized. That's what they made it seem like all weekend long. That's what I was hearing. Again, some of the guys did say some of the stuff that's happened to Tiger Woods in his past, is his own fault. But most of them, I think, were referring to his marriage and things of that nature. But this accident situation, quite interesting. Let me read you this story. New York Post. Tiger Woods may be one of the world's best when it comes to golf, but he's had a series of troubles behind the wheel throughout his career, including 2 crashes that rattled his personal life. Most infamously, in 2009, he smashed up his Cadillac Escalade when he crashed into a neighbor's tree outside his Florida home, further exposing the explosive cheating scandal that tarnished his career and cost him his marriage to model Elin Nordegren. Woods was knocked unconscious in that crash and later rescued by Nordegren, who used a golf club to bust open the car windows and drag him out onto the street, where EMS found him snoring without any socks or shoes on. The intense scrutiny over the cause of the crash and the mystery behind why he was leaving his home at 2:30 in the morning eventually led to the revelation of a series of Woods' infidelities, and he later made a heartfelt statement apologizing for his cheating. As multiple corporate sponsors dropped him and his career went further down the tubes, he surfaced a little over a month later at the Pine Grove Behavioral Health and Addiction Services Clinic in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, a facility that specializes in sex addiction. Following the incident, Woods worked to reclaim his golf greatness and repair his personal life, but the efforts came crashing down once again in 2017 when he was busted for a DUI in Florida. This is very important. He was busted for a DUI in Florida after cops found him passed out behind the wheel of his Mercedes-Benz. A mugshot showed him with bleary eyes and disheveled hair, and tests showed he had Vicodin, Diluidad, Xanax, Ambien, and THC, the active ingredients in marijuana, in his system. Police at the time said it appeared he'd been in a minor car accident before they found him. He told officers that he had a reaction to several prescription drugs, including Vicodin and Xanax. Soon after his arrest, he announced he was seeking professional help to manage my medications and dealing with back pain and sleep disorder. He pleaded guilty to reckless driving in a deal to avoid conviction for DUI and was sentenced to 1 year of probation and a $250 fine. Woods later checked into a clinic to get help with prescription medication and sleep disorder. Folks, listen to what I just read you. He had a DUI. He was asleep wholeheartedly as he was apparently leaving for another night of infidelity. I don't know what you think, but I'm thinking there's a lot of there here, and there's a lot more investigating to do. And then he's had this recent accident. Didn't hit the brakes. We'll say over 70 miles an hour in a 45 mile or a 40 miles zone, whatever it was. Bottom line is it's excessive speed. Okay. And yet with the excessive speed, he didn't get a ticket, and nobody's asking any major questions in regards to what's going on with him. They're claiming he was not intoxicated in any way, shape, or form. Okay. I have to take your word for it. You're the law. So I'm not going to say that, my word should be stronger than your word if you're the law and I'm not the law. But I am sitting here saying there's a lot of questions that the national sports media was not, is not, will not ask. Why? Why not? Why aren't you digging into it? Why is it that you want to act like he was victimized somehow, and because he was victimized and now he's made this great recovery and he's come back to play, professional golf, as if it's something that is the greatest comeback in history because some way, somehow he was victimized and now he overcame his victimization. But that's not what happened. This is a problem of his own device. This is a problem that he created. And there are problems here. And I don't think anybody's asking all the right questions. I'll watch that video. Hopefully I'll get some answers. Talk about it a little more tomorrow. There's a lot of stuff I wanted to talk about today. But it looks like, once again, I'm over time. That's the way it goes on Mondays, apparently. But I got a bunch more stuff to talk about. Make no mistake about it. So we will do it tomorrow. You enjoy the rest of your day. This is Yay or Nay Show.